Where are the kids today? Can I see hands? Kids. Or people who feel young like kids. If you feel good today, let's see your hands. All right. Today, you didn't put your hand up. You are an old soul. Today we're going to talk about this icon. Who can tell me who this is? Nyla? Right here. Not St. George, we're going to skip him. This one. Well, it's a woman, and she has a crown, and she's holding a baby. So it's Panagia. It's the Mother of God. Now, how did she get to be the Mother of God? Did it just happen one day? Is she like Athena? She sprang forth out of her father's forehead, fully grown, and all of a sudden she had the crown and she had the baby in her? No, not at all. She was born like anybody else. We celebrate her birthday. Do you know when her birthday is? Nobody can tell me Panagia's birthday. Oh, that's okay. We didn't do the service, so it's my fault. It's September the 8th is the birthday of the Virgin Mary. So always wish her happy birthday. All right? September 8th. My son ought to be able to remember that because his birthday is 2 months later. Right? Now I told you on Dimitri's birthday. All right. So she was born. What then? Did she grow up? She came to church. She lived with her parents? No. Because her parents were old. And because they knew that they wouldn't be there to care for her all the time, they dedicated her to the temple. There weren't churches all over the place in those days. There was the one temple on the mountains in Jerusalem. So they've dedicated her to the temple, like Samuel. Any of you know the story of Samuel? Read it. It's a good story. But the Virgin Mary, she went into the temple when she was 3 years old. How old are you? 3? Your age. And the temple was a big stone building with gold, and it was very impressive and very frightening. And Panagia came to the steps. Her parents brought her there, and she was afraid at first. And they had to reach down and help her to walk up the first step. But then it was as though someone invisible had taken her hand, and she walked up all the high steps by herself, this little 3-year-old girl. And then, this was the miracle. She kept on walking. She walked into the temple, into the holy place, and she kept on walking as though she knew where she was going, as though she was coming into her own home. And the priest, he almost reached out to stop her, but something stayed his hand. And she kept walking. This little girl, 3 years old, she kept walking. And the temple was the same as our church. It had the holy place where the people stand, and it had the naos, the iero, the holy of holies. And she kept walking. She walked all the way up, and she walked behind the curtain into the holy of holies, where only the high priest goes once a year to offer blood for the sins of the people. It was said that it was death to step into the Holy of Holies if you were not the high priest. And even the high priest, his vestments had bells so that those outside could hear him moving around. And if they heard the bells stop, there was a rope tied around his foot with the other end outside so they could pull his body out of the Holy of Holies, because he had not pleased God. But this little girl, 3 years old, she walks right in, and she takes her place there. Because what was she going to do? What happens between then and here when she holds Christ as a babe? She was pregnant with him, right? And that meant that she herself contained the very presence of God. So she, who was to become the Holy of Holies, the place of God's presence, walked in to the Holy of Holies, 3 years old, led by invisible angels to either side. Have you heard this story before? This is a great story. I love this story. So she grew up. She grew up in the temple, And she prayed, and she cleaned, and she served. She helped the people that came in. And then she got too old. She couldn't stay. So they decided that they had to give her into somebody's care. So they picked an old man who'd been married before. He had children already, and they thought, he'll take care of her, and to make very clear that she's holy. We don't know what God has planned for her, but not every 3-year-old walks into the Holy of Holies and comes out alive. So we know she's special. We will hand her into the care of the most righteous man of Israel. And they drew lots, and they drew lots again, and they drew lots a third time, and they fell upon a man named Joseph, the betrothed. And he took her into her home, only 14 years old, maybe 15. And it was in his home that the feast to which our church is dedicated happened. The angel came to her. As she sat in the house, they say she was spinning. She was making something, always working. No sitting around lazy, being bored for Maria. No. She was always working. And the angel came and said, "Hail, greetings, rejoice, favored one. The Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb." And she said, "What now?" "For you will bear a son, and his name will be called Jesus. He will be great, and he will be called the Son of the Most High." And she says, "How can this be? I don't have a husband. I'm not married. That doesn't happen." And the angel says, "The Holy Spirit will descend upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you, and because of this, the babe that is born from you will be called what? Who is? Whose son is he? God's Son." Very good, Gabrielle. And she says the most important thing in the history of the universe. "I am the servant of the Lord. May it be done to me according to your word and the will of God." She said, yes. She said, "I will obey. I will serve in this way." And this is why she is in the center of the church. This is why she is always here, because she is an example. Because she is the first Christian. The first one who said, "Ne, vede, malista, oti thelete, as you wish, my Lord and my God." She obeyed and she served. And because of this, all the nations call her blessed. Now, Jesus is only coming as a baby once. None of you are going to be Panagia. There's one Panagia. But we can all follow in her footsteps. We can all come to the church with joy, as though to our second home, our true home. We can all come to the church with love. We can clean, we can serve, we can embrace those who have a sad face. A good thing for the kids to do, to bring a smile to those who are down and need the love of God. And we can always, always, always pray for our brothers and sisters, for our parents, for all of our loved ones. And pray always that God will give us mercy, and pray always that we may have the strength to do God's will in the same way as Panagia. Fair enough? We can do that. We can at least try to say, "Lord our God, your will be done. Have mercy on me and on everyone that I love in all the world." And if we do that, then we're following in the footsteps of the Panagia.